Well, welcome to this week's edition, or the final edition of Origin Footy. And it's all thanks to Palmerbet, of course. And, I've got a couple of absolute superstars that have been kind of going toe-to-toe over the last couple of weeks throughout this Origin series. And I say a very good evening to Kurt Gidley. Kids, you've got the scarf out, mate. The Blues are up and about.
Got the scarf out, mate. It worked for game 2, so I thought, mate, let's not change things for game 3, the decider up at Suncorp. So, yeah, it was a fair old turnaround for the Blues, which was certainly needed.
Absolutely, it was, mate. And, the polar bear, Benny Hannant, you've had a big couple of weeks, mate. Not only did the Maroons go down, but you had a fight. And I tell you what, mate, I seriously take my hat off to you. You took on Justin Hodges, mate, and you've done a magnificent job. 4 weeks leading, you got the call up late. I reckon full kudos to you to keep throwing punches, and you copped a bit, mate. But you just kept standing there and you kept dishing it out. I absolutely commend you, big fella.
No, I'll always have a go. If someone throws something up at me and an opportunity, my first instinct is always I don't know if I can do this, but then you take it on, you give it a red hot crack, and hopefully it was entertaining. I hope people enjoyed watching it, but I'm definitely excited about Wednesday coming up, though. We need some redemption coins. Then we've got our pants pulled down game 2. It was tough to watch that second half, but I'm looking forward to game 3.
Yeah, of course, at Optus Stadium, 44-12 in the end. Of course, the Maroons got off to a bit of a flyer, and we thought, hang on, anything could happen here, but it was all the Blues in the second half, wasn't it, kids?
Yeah, it was, Matty. Yeah, look, it was still pretty tight in that first half, probably up until the sin binning, which I think he held him close down to probably 2 minutes on the line there. I don't know if the Bear might disagree with that one, but look, I thought it was warranted. I think there'd been a couple of 60 goes already in that set, and obviously that there was. I mean, both teams always try and do their best to hold the opposition down, and it's always about pushing the envelope to see how far you can go until the ref pulls you up. But they just pushed it a little bit too far at that stage, and the 10 in the bin kind of changed the momentum in the lead into half time. And the Blues picked up a try and then skipped away pretty convincingly in the second half, and that was a big influence by Nathan Cleary that second half. But my best player, again, probably out of the first 2 games, has been for New South Wales. This is James Tedesco. And his work rate, his involvement, yardage carries, in and around the ruck.
They can't see me. He's like a slippery eel.
Yeah, well, mate, he's got amazing footwork, but strength. He's kind of built a little bit lower to the ground. He's got a pretty strong fend on him, so. He almost, reminds me of the way those NFL guys move. There's short steps, speed, footwork. He seems to go forwards, backwards, sideways, and yeah, he's a bloody wonderful player, and that's what we need out of him for game 3.
How would you handle him, Bear? What would you do to Tedesco, big fella?
And realistically, I'd be bombing him and hitting him as hard as I can every time he catches the ball, because, like Gid says, he's an absolute superstar. His hip power, it's not just his speed and skill. He doesn't lose any speed when he changes direction. He's got a fend as well. But his core strength, it's his hip power. When he's in the tackle, the power he has in his hips, when people make contact, if it's not solid contact, he's breaking so many tackles. He's so hard to handle. So if it was me, I'd be putting high bombs up and I'd be making my back rows and centers absolutely hit him as he catches the ball and try and take him out of the game that way, because that's the only way you're going to stop him from having a big influence on game 3.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a massive game 3. Suncorp Stadium, of course, back in Queensland, 1-1. It is going to be huge. I'm just going to run through the teams, boys. Coming up Wednesday night, James Tedesco, the skipper, as we just mentioned, Brian To'o, Matty Burton, Steve Crichton, Daniel Tupou, Jerome Leau, or Leau, or what? I don't know how we pronounce it.
Jerome Luai.
I love it.
Yeah, Luai.
Nathan Cleary, he has been absolutely magnificent. A little bit quiet in game 1, but sensational in game 2. Jacob Safidi making his debut. That is massive as well. Appy Coruscant. I hope I got that right, mate. Trebojevic, he was sensational in game 2 as well. Cam Murray, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo, and then on the bench got Damien Cook, Angus Crichton, Junior Paulo, and Talakai as well.
Talakai, yeah.
All right, you happy with that?
You done well, mate. Yeah, I am. I mean, a late change there, even just today. Really unfortunate news for Jordan McLean, who was set to make his debut at 30 years old. He worked, I would imagine, extremely hard to to earn that position, and that was only earned through Payne Haas being ruled out through injury, and unfortunately, it looks like he's picked up an injury, a hammy injury at training. So I just watched a short clip there on Fox Sports, and he fronted the media. Yeah, it was
seeing him break down like that. His opportunity like that, he just knows that that's so few and far in between. And my heart broke for him when he had to face up to the media and say about his hamstring. Like, even though he's a New South Welshman, like it's such a tough moment for him, and you feel for him and his family. Yeah, you just know they don't come around much, and you know, look at the opportunity that Jacob Safudi got. He's been there game 1 and game 2 in the squad around the team. I ran into him in Newcastle, and he said he loved just the whole experience of being around the Origin team. So he gets his first opportunity. His twin brother Daniel had played over the last few years and been one of the best front rowers, and now it's his turn.
Hey, what's it? You know, like we all, you know, you play sport to win premierships and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely, boys. But, you know, like it's next level stuff, isn't it? State of origin. And, you know, like to hear a bloke that's, you know, in his early 30s and he's going to make his debut, now that would have been the biggest moment of his life, wouldn't it?
It's an extra feather in his cap, that's for sure. And that moment, he's got a young family. So to have his family there while he sings the national anthem and play in the biggest stage in the world for rugby league, like you don't get too tough a tougher game ever in the history of rugby league than State of Origin. This was his moment. He would have been dreaming of this as a kid, and unfortunately a hamstring injury, probably because they're training extremely hard. It's been a long, tough season. He's been in fantastic form for the Cowboys, but that moment where he realises there's nothing more he can do to get himself into that team because of the hamstring, you just gutted for him. And, you know, that special moment where his kids would have seen him play, it's tough for a footy player.
Mm.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, let's run through the Maroons. Now, I want to get to this, Bear, because to be honest, I'm surprised that they've stuck. After game 2, they were saying 6 to 8 changes. You know, in the Maroons lineup, but they've stuck pretty fat here. So, Kalen Ponga, I reckon he's an absolute star. Under a little bit of pressure after game 2, they seem to want to come for him. Selwyn Cobbo, Valentine Holmes, Dane Gagai, Murray Tulagai, Cam Munster, he's a superstar. Daly Cherry Evans, Lindsay Collins, Ben Hunt, Just Papalai, Kurt Capewell, Jeremiah Nana. I'm not even going to try and pronounce Tino's last name.
Tino, that'll work.
He is an absolute, that is a mouthful. Then on the bench, got Harry Grant, Jay Arrow, Patrick Carrigan, and Tommy Gilbert, who's making his debut. To be honest, did you think they were going to make more changes here, Bear?
Yeah, I honestly thought they were going to make some changes. I was really disappointed with their second half. And the first half of footy, and I understand why Bill's stuck with them. That first half of footy, I thought Queensland were on top until Kafusi got sent off.
Yeah.
Now, some could say, you know, it was a tough send-off to have in Origin level when players are lying on each other all the time. But like Kurt Gidley, you know, they're 50-50 those decisions, and you've got to be able to defend those. But
who would you have changed if you were coach?
I was really disappointed with Nanai's defence, leaving his feet constantly.
Yeah.
There's one rule in State of Origin that, and not State of Origin, footy in general, you never get beaten on your inside shoulder. So when you're defending on your inside shoulder, you always protect that. Your job is to cover that space between you and the inside defender. And so many times Queensland got pulled apart in the middle. You know, Cleary scored 2 tries. Luai scored a try. So many tries where players lost their feet. So when they're tired and fatigued, and they came off the back of the send-off too. So you got to commend New South Wales. You put your foot on our throat and you didn't take it off at all the second half. Our boys were knackered. Caleb Ponga got run over by Junior Paulo for that send-off. And I don't think he recovered since that. Like, it looked like he got hit by a freight. I was standing up literally on the sideline then when he got hit, and a dead set looked like he got hit by a Mack truck. Like in the force Paulo ran over him. I don't think he recovered. So there's a few players that I thought defensively were very, very poor in that second half. I know they were fatigued, but those simple rules, and I know that can be fixed really easily. And I know Bill, I understand why Bill's stuck with the side. At the time, I thought there's got to be 4 or 5 changes. Like that's not acceptable. But those guys have been picked because they are the best in our state of what they need to do. He's giving them an opportunity. Like, it's okay to make mistakes.
So is it a bit of redemption? Is it a bit of redemption, do you think, there?
Well, in life, we all make mistakes. Sometimes we have a bad day, or under fatigue, you make poor decisions. But it's what you do next, and that will show the real character of Queensland, especially these players that I wasn't impressed with in that second half. I think not just myself, a lot of Queenslanders weren't impressed with. But It's what they do next. Next game, up home, up at Suncorp Stadium. Are they going to be disciplined? Yeah, that was a big wake-up call from. It was a kick up the pants. It was embarrassing for Queensland that second half. And we're going to be playing in front of our home state at Suncorp Stadium. There's so much history there that these guys, like, realistically, if they don't perform in game 3 and make the same mistakes, it's what I think they'll be dropped after that. But I do like the
sure. Yeah, I was just going to say, this could be a masterstroke by Billy staying loyal and sticking with the same guys. I know even one of my favourite players at the Knights, Gags, Dan Gagai, he's just competitive, he's aggressive, he's skillful, he's quick.
He's missed more tackles than anyone in State of Origin by country mile.
Yeah, Gags is under pressure to keep his spot. So it'll either be a masterstroke by Billy and they'll paint the headlines around the loyalty of Queensland again and sticking with that team, or the coach will be under pressure and those players will certainly be under pressure to keep their spot for the final year.
Yeah, if they don't perform game 3, I think Billy will build the axe after game 3. But I'm a big believer in life. You deserve a second chance to make right. It's what you do next after you have a bad game or you make mistakes. That's a true character of a person. A real champion is how they bounce back. And we're going to see come Wednesday night, these champions for Queensland stand up. And I'm excited for them. At the time, I wanted blood. I wanted people to get their, to get cut from the team. But now I understand why Bill's done it. And I'm actually excited to see these guys go around again.
And on the flip side too, and the Blues will have to be careful of this because they're going in against the same team virtually. They don't get ahead of themselves. They don't just think it's going to just happen, kids. Because they absolutely steamrolled them in the second half. Could give them a false sense of security.
Yeah, I don't think so, Matty. Not at this level. Like at club level, there can be a sniff of complacency around club level, just because the variety of experience in those teams. But when you get to Origin level, like the complacency is just out the window. And even if psychologically there might be just some thoughts ticking through your head, you've got the experience and you've got the belief to get rid of the complacency and thoughts in your head and just focus on what the job is, what your job is for the team, and making sure you execute that.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, what about the game breakers? Cleary had his best game, of course, in Origin game 2. Burton looked comfortable in the Origin arena, of course. Trebojevic back to his best. I thought he was just absolutely magnificent. And all the kind of the plays that needed to stand up, the ones that you put the heat on, so to speak, kids, heading into Origin 2, they stood up, didn't they?
Well, they did, yeah. But mate, even Freddie there was some question marks over Freddie and how many changes he made and whether they were going to be right. And if we get beaten that game, they're probably calling for Freddie's head after a serious loss. So he backed himself. He backed his assistant coaches as well, and the players that they selected for those positions and those changes. And Matt Burton, I thought, was a great point of difference. Left foot kicker. Obviously, he's got a huge bomb on him, which is a great point of difference, and he got hold of a couple of those. But skillful, tough, competitive. Jake Trebojevic, awesome to have him back in the team. Just a real workhorse. He's probably never going to break the line or certainly go too far if he does, Jake, or score a try. But I think he's just so valued amongst his teamates. I don't think
he'll ever get dropped again. I don't think he'll ever get dropped. He's built for Origin.
Yeah, I agree
for sure. And I'm going
to ask you then, who are you putting the acid on? Pick me out 3 players that you're going to put the acid on that you think really need to lift in game number 3.
I think Nanai's in the starting side, so I think he let at least 2 tries in. I remember seeing from inside shoulder defence where he left his feet as well. I just think the experience at that big the big arena at State of Origin level, I'd like to see him. He played good for the Cowboys over the weekend, but I'd love to see him really step up and really embrace this Origin arena. I thought Kalen Ponga, second half, got caught out of position a lot. He was fatigued. He got run over by Junior Paulo. He definitely needs to have a big game. And probably the third one, Gagai, just defensively. We've seen over many, many, many years, he's been Queensland's best player. And I love Gags. I think he's a fantastic player. Origin level, somehow he just grows an extra foot taller and goes outstanding. But unfortunately, this series has been a lot of missed tackles around him and tries scored around his area. So I'd love to see him be a little bit more aggressive in defence. And really, if he's going to miss, he's going to miss hard. Go after him, hunt them. And I think if he goes into his when he makes his tackles really aggressively, I think if he does miss, they're going to bounce it to someone else. So I'd love to see him back himself defensively, because I just think he's outstanding for Queensland. The way he runs the ball, he scores a try nearly every single game. So probably those three are three players I'd love to see really step up. And also Josh Papali'i. I think he was pretty quiet game one. We're used to seeing him steamroll people. I just saw Jake Jabojevic and the pack, Junior Paulo, the way he ran over the top of KP and a few others. I'd love to see Josh get cranky and take it personal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a handful when he's got the ball in his hands, and he's got that work ethic that we all know he can do. But I know Munster's carrying a shoulder injury since game 2, so I know he's playing. I wouldn't question his toughness and his resilience, but still, it's a tough injury to be carrying into a game 3 and a decider, that's for sure. But and even Kalen's head knocks that he's had a few this year, and he's missed a few games with those. I mean, I hope he doesn't cop another one, to be honest. But there'll be a bit of a microscope on Kalen too, I reckon.
And mentally, I think that's gonna play on him a little bit mentally. When you have a couple of head knocks and you've been run over a couple of times, that you have a couple of doubts, a couple of questions coming in. You can't have that at an Origin level, and like it's these big moments. I know that Munster will stand. Billy said he's going to be 100% come game time. But you go back to that first half in Perth, Queensland were on top. I felt we had a bit of, like, it was back and forth, but I felt Queensland were well and truly in a contest. It was just the brilliance from New South Wales to keep your foot on our throat that second half after the player sent off, which showed the experience and how good this New South Wales side is. That views were perfect that second half.
I thought our kicking game. Yeah, it did. I thought our kicking game, Nathan Cleary. I noticed, the Blues just getting into a position like the front rowers just to block that marker, trying to put as much pressure on from game 1, because his kicking game was off game 1, but it was because of the line speed from A and at marker that they were putting him off his game. So good positive influence on New South Wales. Finished the sets.
Now listen, boys.
Hey, Bear, what I was just going to say, Matty, that Ruben Cotto, he's game 1. He was a big loss for game 2, I reckon, and probably for Queensland again in game 3. Again, a guy who'd be devastated. Only just his first debut in Origin game 1, plays great and ties up that middle so well for Queensland. I thought they missed in game 2.
I agree with you. I think we missed that big time, and we had a couple of injuries as well. But I think Jai Arrow, I thought, was going to be that man. I think he's still got it, but I don't think he got enough minutes there. We had players that were just fatigued. To be honest with you, I just thought you guys were outstanding. Like, I hate saying this, kids. It kills me to say it. You were brilliant that second half. When you had your foot in our throat, though, your kicking game was superb. Your forwards ran hard. Our players didn't have a chance to take a breath. They were so tired and fatigued that they had nothing left in the tank. You didn't make errors. Everything, you kicked us to the corners. So our outside backs had to work hard. The forwards had to get behind the ball. There was not a time where the boys could take a breath and swing momentum back. And that's got to be, it hurts me to say this, but Cleary finally stepped up and showed that he is not just the greatest halfback at the game at the moment, but he's going to be remembered. The way he played that game too, that's the legacy in Origin. Like, people remember his game in Origin too for a long time.
You see what he's doing?
Can I just say,
hang on, Matty. So do you see what he's doing here? These Queenslanders do that. They pump your tyres up and they give you all this praise and, you guys are favourites and you beat us by 40, and they just like to keep spreading.
You've finally done something right, kids. I've got to praise. Will you do something good? We'll give you a pat on the back, right?
We don't want to hear it. Nah.
I was actually, and the dog's wanting to get involved behind you too, Gids.
Oh, he's the dog. That's Lenny.
I was going to say,
big Origin fan.
I reckon the big polar bear is still recovering from the fight last week. The amount of praise that he's heaping on the New South Wales Blues.
Get him into a HIA.
It's me sad, boys. It kills me. But the first half, I thought we were right. I was confident after the first half. Even the try scored at half time and the player sent off Felice Kafusi, I still thought, the way he came out of the sheds, it's scaring me for game 3. I'm not going to lie. Like, we've really got to up our game. it's do or die, that's for sure.
It certainly is, big fella, and I can just sense it. I can't believe this whole conversation's just changed over the course of 3 shows, Gids. This has been unbelievable.
Oh, we're still going to kick
I'm just going to block these compliments, mate, back. Block them back.
Hey, listen,
to be honest, look, mate, to be honest, the scorelines are relevant from game 2. You know, I know that people say, oh, wow, that was a big touch-up. Can Queensland recover psychologically? But the scoreline means nothing. Like, there was 1 try in game 1. Could have went either way, game 1. Queensland with a better team. Game 2, pretty big touch-up by New South Wales. But, you know, the scoreline's irrelevant going into game 3. You got to get this one done, and it's back to square one. And what's the game plan to make sure we get the job done here? So we get this series win, which has been a long time coming.
And I suppose the next question, boys, is seriously a sold-out Suncorp Stadium. What's the atmosphere? To be honest, it is going to be absolutely electric, isn't it, come Wednesday night?
It'll be the best. Like, honestly, this is what players dream of, playing in front of a packed Suncorp Stadium. Even though there's only, 54,000 people there, it's better than 100,000 people in Sydney, because just the noise, people on top of you. And, you know, people say us Queenslanders have got 2 heads. Well, we're screaming from both heads. We're giving you guys plenty. If you're New South Welshman, you want to play in Queensland.
3 heads.
Where, you know, but, you know, that if you come up here, you want that hostile environment. So New South Wales are going to love going down Caxton Street and the noise and the rumble that's going to be there. But as Queenslander, we are definitely hard to beat up here. Playing here in Queensland with the home crowd, with 50 plus thousand of them will be Queenslanders going nuts. It's going to be a real hostile environment for New South Wales.
It has a big influence on the refs as well, Matty.
Just like Sydney does down in Sydney, we've got you down there. Well, it does. It's screaming about offside. It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Look, even as a New South Wales spring, playing at a packed Suncorp, it's great. Everyone hates you and everyone's against you and booing, but the atmosphere. I remember running out. It was my first game up there, and you run out and you're yelling out at your teammates, and mate, you can't hear unless you've got eye contact there. So communicating, and executing your plays that you've put together all week, and even defensive, talking to your teammates defensively, you really got to turn your head and look for eye contact, because, mate, you can't hear anyone. Unreal. Which is an unbelievable atmosphere. So
it's going to be brilliant. That is for sure. Let's have a look at the odds, boys. All thanks to Palmerbet, of course. Download the app, get involved, gamble responsibly. That is the key message. But the Blues, $1.65 head-to-head. Queensland, $2.25. At the line, New South Wales -2.5, $1.90. Queensland +2.5, $1.90. Total points under 37.5, $1.90. Over 37.5 at $1.90. The margin. New South Wales 1-12 at $3. Queensland 1-12 at $3.45. New South Wales 13 plus $3.45. Queensland 13 plus $5.70. Market's got it right, boys. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I don't know. New South Wales short for me. It's a decider in Queensland. We haven't won a decider since 2005. I think it was. The stats are so.
Wow.
There's been a few games played as deciders post 2005, but that was the last time New South Wales has got up in one, and this one is in Queensland, which again the stats aren't in our favour, that's for sure.
Yep, the Queensland team's definitely going to be cranky and coming out fire. I think Josh Papali'i is going to be fired up. Same with Big Tino. I really feel Queensland have had a real shake-up. This is a lot of boys' heads are on the chopping board. This is their moment for redemption, how they're going to bounce back after game 2. But I love those juicy odds, $5.70, 13 plus. Get on that all day for Queensland.
Beautiful, boys. Beautiful. What about first try scorer? Brian To'o, $9.75. Daniel Tupou, $10. Selwyn Cobbo at $11. Talagi at $12.50. Tedesco at $13. Burton, $13. Talakai at $14. And Crichton at $14. Which way are you going there, boys?
I don't know. Maybe I've got a feeling maybe Tupou as the first try scorer, a little crossfield kick from Nathan Cleary, end of the set, just to sort of wrap it up. And I'm going to see the big man just launching above. I'm on Toops for first try scorer, but I've got a different little multi towards the end that I'll share.
Okay. Well, I'm going to more juicier odds. I'm actually going Munster first try scorer.
I just
feel, mate, I feel he's going to be the next Wally Lewis of Queensland, the king of Origin. I really feel he's going to take this game by the scruff of the neck. He was good in getting the first half of game 2. He was fantastic game 1. He's scoring tries every game. Why can't he score the first one game 3?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know. He's one of the real dangers for New South Wales in every game and every minute. He's so skillful and unpredictable, but he's tough and resilient.
A good halfback. First instinct is run, and that's what I love about him. First thing, as soon as he catches the ball, he runs aggressive, and then he sums up the situation. So he's not afraid to have a crack himself.
There goes the dog. The dog's had enough, kids.
Dog's out. He's had enough. He's had enough of my shit.
I was going to say, as he listened to the polar bear, he said, "Stuff this."
He's gone bugger this. I'm out of here.
Hey, listen, come on. You got a minute. Tell us, Gids. I'm going to start with you, mate. Why are the Blues going to win, and what's your bet?
Why are the Blues going to win? Well, mate, they're coming in with plenty of belief and confidence again off that game 2. They weren't far off in game 1, to be honest, but Queensland were the better team. But I just felt they executed their plays really well. I liked Api Coruscant starting and played like 32 minutes straight, I think, Api Coruscant. So I thought he was a real point of difference. Just he was pretty crafty around dummy half and was getting his forwards onto over the advantage line. So I thought he was great. I reckon Queensland will try and rectify that. And I just think, Nathan Cleary's skills and expertise, the way he was getting the team around the park. And mate, my man Tedesco, he's my favourite player in the Blues team, has been for both games. So we just need that same work rate again, and for him to have another big one, which I'm sure he will. Blues to win.
What about you, Bear? Come on, mate. Sell us on the Maroons, big fella.
Well, it's very simple. It's redemption for Queensland. Game 2, there's a lot of players embarrassed, made very poor decisions. And Billy stuck with him, which is the true character of a man is not when he's down, when he makes mistakes, what he does next. And Queensland has proven year after year, when it comes to a decider in Queensland, like Gid said, 2005 was the last time he beat the decider. Last time when it was a decider in Queensland, we got written off again. Josh Papali'i was so aggressive. I feel that game 2 was all about attack. New South Wales dominated, beautiful tries, high-scoring match. But this game is going to be about defence. I really believe that Queensland are going to come out with outstanding line speed. They're going to smother New South Wales. And I honestly believe they're going to win, not by a close margin. I believe 13 plus, $5.70 odds for 13 plus. If I was a Queenslander, I'd be loading up on that.
Gee whiz, the big polar bear's gone bang. He's all over the Maroons. Right, so that's your bet.
What's the max bet I can put on, boys? Matty, what's the max bet I can put on for 13 plus?
I'll tell you,
mate,
obviously
put your
got
house on
pockets
it
full after that fight there, Benny, I reckon. Hey,
he's got plenty too.
So that's your bet, mate. 13 plus for the Maroons. What about player of the series bet?
Oh, if Queensland win the series, it has to be Munster. I just think he was outstanding in game 1. Game 2, first half, he was outstanding as well. He's really leading them around the park. But if New South Wales do win game 3, I'm with Gids. I think Tedesco.
Right, Gids, what's your bet, buddy?
Yeah, I've got a little multi, mate. New South Wales to win, of course. I'm going with the 13 plus as well. I just think the execution of their plays in game 2 and the belief they're going to bring into this one. And Teddy, anytime try score of $6.63, that one's coming in at. So, and again, my man in the series will be Tedesco. New South Wales win. Teddy will obviously have a good game, and he's already played well in the first 2, so he's my player of the series.
Yeah, Tedesco.
I think it's a Wally Lewis. Wally Lewis medal player of the series.
Oh, right, fantastic.
Yeah, I thought.
There you go. Hey, listen,
legend, the king, isn't he?
All thanks to Palmerbet too, of course. Download the app, get involved. They love their Origin, that is for sure. As you two blokes do, gamble responsibly. That's the key message. I'll tell you what, boys, it is going to be an absolute cracker on Wednesday night. Game 3 of Origin. It's the Queenslanders taking on the New South Wales Blues. Gids and Polar Bear, good luck, boys. May the best man win.
Upside down.
Go the Blues. You're breaking up.
Mate.
Go the Blues. Go the Blues.
Good luck. You're going to need it.
All the best.